Today's video is very interesting because we are going to talk about cancer. As most of you know, I have talked about it a lot of times. Cancer is my primary research area. I'm going to talk about the fundamental concepts of what basically turns a normal cell into a cancerous cell. If you want to pursue cancer biology, or if you want to know about cancer, this is the video that you want to see. So if you want to listen to this in Urdu, you just have to click on the link above. So our main objectives for this presentation are to understand the 10 cellular hallmarks of cancer, which are basically 10 signs that distinguish a cancerous cell from a normal cell. We will then see how these hallmarks make cancer cells superior to normal cells in terms of survival, in terms of growth, and in terms of competition. Before we start this lecture, I would like to introduce some of the terminologies so that it makes things a bit easier for you to understand. Apoptosis is basically a programmed cell that every cell has a lifespan, and after that lifespan the cell stops dividing and eventually it dies. This death mechanism is pre-programmed inside the cell. For example, our red blood cells die every 3 months, which means that you get new blood every 3 months. Next is mitosis. Mitosis is basically a type of cell division in which a cell creates two identical cells. Everything in your body that has the purpose to grow divides through mitosis. Telomeres are portions that are at the end of a chromosome. Chromosome is basically the way DNA is packed inside your cell. At the end of each chromosome is a small region called a telomere, and we are going to talk about it in detail as we move further. Angiogenesis means to create new blood vessels, and angiogenesis is the property of cancer cells, which means that all cancer cells produce blood vessels. They make blood vessels. Tumorigenesis means the creation or the genesis of tumor. When a cancer spreads from one part of the body to another, that phenomena is known as metastasis. Another terminology that has been of great interest in the past 10 years is the TME, or the tumor microenvironment. Now, every tumor creates its own environment, which is the surrounding area around the tumor. That environment is called the tumor microenvironment. Micro because it's smaller compared to the rest of the body, and it is important to study the TME because we need to distinguish what the environment of the body is compared to the environment of the tumor. Exosomes are extracellular vesicles, which means that they are vesicles outside the cells that are precursors to cancer metastasis. The presence of exosomes can be a determinant that a cancer is about to metastasize. They act as messengers that lay groundwork for cancer cells to migrate and settle down. So recently, research has been going on in which you can measure the amount of exosome in blood. Exosome could be used as a marker for tumor metastases. Fibroblasts are basically connective tissues that secrete collagen. Collagen is a fibrous protein, and collagen is also found in your bones. We are going to look at why fibroblasts are important in terms of cancer biology. Similarly, mesenchyme is the extracellular matrix which forms all of your connective tissues. ECM is your extracellular matrix, as we've discussed before. It is the part outside the cell. You can call the surrounding of cells the ECM. There is another terminology called senescence. We are going to look at senescence shortly. Senescence is basically the inability of a cell to divide. The cell does not divide, but it remains metabolically active, which means that it is consuming nutrients. However, it is not doing any work, and we are going to look at why the cell does this. There's another term called pericyte. Pericyte are cells that line the walls of capillaries at regular intervals. Neoplasia is basically the scientific terminology for the word cancer. Neo means new, plasia means growth. Uncontrolled abnormal growth of cells is called neoplasia. So now that we are done with our terminologies, let's continue forward and see what are these 10 hallmarks of cancer. After this part is over, continue onwards towards the next few parts until we complete our 10 hallmarks of cancer. And I hope you enjoy this along the way, so that at the end of this video you have the basic idea of what a cancer is, what a cancer cell does, and what are the differences between cancerous and normal cells.